What's important is I'll start with the challenges first. So when you're talking to CTV buyers, they have quite a bit of fragmentation, lack of measurement standardization, and metadata that comes through the bid stream can be often misclassified. And so it reminds me of the early days of both display advertising and mobile, so lots of fragmentation and challenges. So that's the first challenge. And unlike linear television, in CTV, why this is important is that advertisers have precise control over who sees the ad, but they don't have precise control of where the ad is placed. And so what you have is sometimes you have the tone of the ad clashing with the tone of the content and context being viewed, and that creates what we would say is negative attention or disruptive attention. So think of it as you're watching an ad, and all of a sudden when you're watching that ad, you're in a really sad scene, and you get a happy ad. That's an emotional mismatch. And so that creates buyers to buy CTV at scale. That creates some headaches for buyers, as well as there's a huge opportunity with that gap as well for customers that want to lean in and agencies and brands into contextual advertising. So at Wurl, as we're the largest, one of the largest and leading ad tech companies in the CTV space, we provide monetization, distribution, and advertising solutions to brands, agencies, as well as content publishers and streamers. And we are giving a really a nice way to scale buying for CTV, and we want to make the way that linear was bought easier for the entire industry, and we think contextual is the lever to do that.
So what are the data points in contextual? What does your system know, learn, and execute with the data that it has in terms of being contextually relevant?
So to be contextually relevant, one of the things, and I love the question, is this question of what we're excited about at Wurl is how does emotion impact user experience, and how does that impact advertiser performance? So if you think about the biggest screen in the home is where CTV is mainly consumed, it is in a non-skippable environment, and it has on the largest screen. And so you don't want to create disruptive negative attention if you can't skip. So we, using AI, are because we're the largest operator of fast channels in the world, premium fast channels, our AI scores and looks at all of the content streams that are there, and we run the gamut through Plutchnik's Wheel of Emotion of all of the emotions someone might be experiencing looking at that content, and we use that AI to score the emotions that are contained in the ad. And then our job with the product that we released 2 weeks ago called Brand Discovery is it enables the precise matching of the ad to the content, and more importantly, in the context and the emotion of that programming in real time, to create what we would call positive or earned experience. So the sentiment and tone of the ad will match the sentiment and tone of the actual content, creating and meeting where that audience or viewer in the home is emotionally.
So Peter, tell us where the Wurl solution sits in the media ecosystem between the buyers and the sellers.
So targeting, so what we bring, charge for our data segments, the inventory that we operate for these premium streamers as well as publishers, those fast channels, we have a lot of metadata that we normalize with our AI, and so we sit in terms of providing those data segments, buying inventory. So not necessarily in the middle. People can transact with us through their SSP, they can transact with us directly, or their DSP, so we're very flexible to where buyers, how buyers and advertisers want to transact.
So how important is contextual advertising? We've been talking about it for years. The cookie's gone away, it's all about context. Where does that conversation stand now around the value of contextual advertising?
Yeah, that's also a really good question. Contextual has been around as long as I've been in this business, which is about 2 decades, and it's nice to see that we're almost back to this. So I think contextual is important in creating impactful moments for consumers. There's just too many ads, and we've all experienced this, that don't match where we're at and looking at that. And so what we're doing, and it is somewhat disruptive, is starting with the emotion. to drive the performance. And we have the data that shows when you're matching that emotion, when you understand where your audience is in that journey, because let's face it, creative and emotion and great storytelling is what drives people to connect to brands and want to take that action. So we think emotions are at the center of this. We also think generative AI in terms of contextual to have deeper insights into where audiences and consumers are at, and then creating new and interactive experiences. So over the next 18 months, we're excited to see how contextual grows, but it's really where it belongs, is showing and giving a greater transparency to advertisers to not only know, right, they know where their audience is, but to make sure that the placement of that emotion and that sentiment of content and ad is in the right place, and that's where the magic happens. You're bringing storytelling, creative, data, and performance all together, and it's a win for the brand, it's a win for the agency, it's a win for the technology partners, and most importantly, the consumer. I think we spend way too much time talking in our industry about the right audience at the right time at the right place. What we do at Wurl, and where contextual, I think, really has a place at the table, is how do we actually know what right is? And in part, we help solve for some of that.